The next thing that comes right after that is turn the world around.
I'll mention it with the name. You want me to do that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, and the number too,
And the
because
number.
it's not on
1054. No, 1074.
107. Yeah.
1074. Unless you want to.
I'm happy.
If I mention it, it gives you time to walk down here if you want to.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I just wish people would stand up. I think if we invite them to stand, they're more likely to.
I'll invite them to stand. So what's the last thing you're going to say?
I'm going to say, thank you for helping the Unitarian Universalist
Okay, and then I'll say that. Tell them it's 107.4. You know what? This song that we stand with us. Let's all sing together. Gives you a chance.
Yeah, I think it is important, especially this stand is willing and able.
I'll just say if you can, stand with
If you
us.
can and you want to, stand with
Right,
us.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's willing and able. It's just so
stupid.
Stuffy.
Stuffy would be a
If
good
you
word.
can and you'd like to, please stand with us.
If you can, stand with us and sing. Turn the as we stand and sing as we turn the world around. There we go.
Oh, and there's nothing.
He's a pro. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to First Unitarian Church of Toledo, this 23rd day of February 2025. We are glad you are here, whether in our sanctuary right now or at a place and time of your choosing on YouTube. We welcome everyone as we sang in our opening song. Who are we? We are a church with no official creed, and our only doctrine is love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. One of those shared values is equity. Equity means that we declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Who are we? Well, I'm Tom Sheehan. I'm today's service associate, and I'm here with Judy Lee Troutman, who will be presenting our annual social justice service. Jeffrey Maxey, our music director, is at the piano today, directing our First Unitarian Choir. Ginny Gottman, our director of lifelong learning, will tell today's story. And today, our Tech Bay producer-director, Walter McGee, who manages the YouTube feed, is still recovering from COVID. Julia McGee, the acting president of our Board of Trustees, has taken a sort of a general role in support of the tech team, and she's home with Walter, although I believe she has now tested negative. So let's keep Walter and Julia in our thoughts and prayers. And thanks to Krista Schneider, our congregation's vice president, who has stepped in as our video mixer. Andy Gottman is positioning the cameras, and David Strickler, who is our commissioned lay minister, is at the soundboard. There's a lot going on back there. There are many other church members also helping today with greeters in the lobby, religious education helpers for today's RE activities, and we have our kitchen crew, led by Carlin Logan Mercer, preparing for coffee hour. While we're talking about people contributing on Sundays, let me ask you to consider taking up audio-visual duties on occasion, or being a service associate like I'm doing today, or helping in some other way, such as with religious education or greeting or ushering. For tech, Walter will train you. And it's a good way to help us Toledo Unitarians get our message out. We've been short-staffed for a few Sundays, so you could move right in. If you're interested, we hope Walter will be back next week and you can talk to him. And I've always thought that it would be great for a young person who's interested in TV and how it works, because that is a TV studio back there. It's incredible. Take a look as you go out. It's amazing. And Walter, he knows what he's doing. So it'd be a great opportunity. And I've lost my place. Okay, for service associates and other volunteer activities, contact Reverend Tim. A word about health. We've seen an upsurge of people in our congregation being exposed to and contracting COVID, even when vaccinated and wearing. So wearing masks here is optional. If you're not updated on your vaccinations, please get them. And we do have some COVID tests by request if people need them. If you are a visitor, and I've seen a number, well, welcome. We are really glad you're here. And you may notice in the pew rack in front of you a number of cards. There are a couple that you might want to take with you. There's the Chalice quilt card that looks like our Chalice quilt. And that has all sorts of church info, contact information, etc. And then there are 6 different brochures in the pews, different one in each pew, telling different aspects of Unitarian Universalism about belonging and membership. There's also a yellow card that you could fill out to introduce yourself to us. And if you include your email address, we will send you our weekly email with news of our various activities. As you meet people today, please feel free to introduce yourself and ask any questions you may have. If you're looking for still more information, outside our church office is a rack with several informative brochures about Unitarian Universalism. Now, a couple of points to help make this a sacred space for everybody in attendance. If you have an electronic device, please put it on silent or vibrate-only mode, including any notifications that you might receive. And we ask that you minimize the sound. But we also invite you to bring the light. We have candles and in chalices at this table in front of the pulpit, and you are welcome to come up at any time to light them for your personal joys and concerns anytime music is playing during the service. Now, just one more announcement before we begin the service. It's Potluck Sunday. I'll tell you more about that later, but all are welcome and there's always plenty of food. So please come if you are tempted. I think that completes our opening announcements. So let's begin our services, and we hope this time serves your spirit.
I will add to Tom's welcome. I'm Judy Lee Troutman, ordained Shirag, that means minister, in the Sufi Universalist tradition. I'm also a member of this church and vice chair of the Social Justice Committee. And I'm chair emerita of the Multi-Faith Council of Northwest Ohio, founded in 2003 by my late husband, Woody, who was also a member of this church, and myself. I'm leading the annual social justice service today. As Tom lights the chalice, let us say together words for chalice lighting as printed in the order of service and on screen. Our chalice has the spirit of Unitarian Universalism. Without it, centered in love, may it glow with sacredness and shine for each and for all. Let's continue reciting together with Tom leading us in the covenant of our congregation. This is not a creed, but what we share with general agreement and what we as a religious community work toward.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
In this first of our 3 spiritual practice sections in our service, we are all invited to look beyond ourselves to the state of others in our congregation, our community, and in the world. It seems to be a time of shock and awe, with each day bringing new evidence of hate, violence, and division. What we see in our own country is also seen around the globe, sometimes exacerbated by our government's decisions to move away from humanitarian aid and human rights that are now called un-American. That makes the social justice work of this church and of organizations we collaborate with ever more important and necessary. We are also seeing airline disasters that have not happened in recent years, and natural disasters of unusual weather patterns that are clearly linked to our neglect of our planet home. And there are viral diseases such as COVID, which has not gone away, and mutates so that vaccinations may need to be upgraded. In addition to COVID, there are virulent flu strains and recurrences of diseases that we thought had been eradicated. All this in the face of increasing health care expenses and a reduction in aid to at-risk populations. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are no longer allowed to report these outbreaks. For your interest and information, the American Medical Association has a YouTube page with daily updates on bird flu and other outbreaks that the CDC cannot now report. So that's the American Medical Association YouTube page. Some in our own congregation are experiencing health or other personal concerns. May we offer them comfort and support. Longtime member of our choir with his wife Carol, Tom Titus, died the morning of February 15th. Cards of sympathy and support are appreciated. There will be a service at the church later in spring. Judy Murray has expressed gratitude for church friends' support following her mother's death. Alongside these serious issues, there are good things. People still fall in love, marry, or commit to partnerships. Children are born. People are succeeding in their education or careers. People are banding together to resist losses to our democracy and to help the underserved. Probably the most important thing we can do for our own mental health in difficult times is to seek and build a community of like-minded people. We are not alone. We need each other. Interdependence is one of our UU values. Unitarian Universalists do not proselytize, but we do welcome all people to come together, build community, and seek solutions. Now, our opening hymn is hymn number 1051 in the teal hymnal, We Are. Please stand if you are willing and able.
Each child is born, the morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child is born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreaming.
Good morning, good morning. I would like to invite all of our young UU friends to come forward if they would like to better hear and see the story. Does anyone remember who this is? Jupiter Jet Pig. Last time we were here, we talked about our 6 values. Do you want to hold on? The 6 values that we have in Unitarian Universalism. And the values, that just means the way we think we should live our lives, the things we think are important. Be very gentle. Jupiter can't take all that much. He's not the strongest of jet pigs. Our religion is called a living tradition. And what that means is that our religion can grow and change the same way we can grow and change. And one of the changes we made not too long ago is this new drawing of our 6 values: justice, interdependence, equity, generosity, transformation, and pluralism. It's a way to help us think and talk more about how our UU values show up in our lives. Last week, Jupiter Jet Pig told us that we can remember those values by using their name, Jet Pig. The letters in Jet Pig spell out the first letters of our values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity. I know those words are huge, but believe me, they are simpler than the things we used to say. So I'll tell you what we used to say when it's a lot. So remembering Jupiter Jet Pig's name is one way for us to remember our values. Another way we can remember them is by saying this: justice insists everyone gets to play. Or if you are a grown-up who loves big words, justice insists everyone gets to participate. That sentence kind of describes what our Unitarian Universalist faith is all about. We're all about people being treated equally, all people having a say, insisting on doing what we know is right, and also that joy and play are very important. Justice insists everyone gets to play. Justice, interdependence, equity, transformation, interdependence, and pluralism. We talked last week about what those words mean. Justice means that we work to make the world as fair as we can make it. That's just one of the main things that we do in our lives. Interdependence, I'm having some cognitive dissonance between Jet Pig and justice insists, so I might need to refer to my notes more than you think a person should need to refer to their notes. Interdependence means that your happiness is connected to my happiness, and our health is connected to the health of the earth, and all of the plants and animals and people in this world are all connected in one big web of life. Equity means everyone gets a say, everyone should have the things that they need to live a full and happy life. Generosity means that we share what we have. We share our money, we share our time, we share our joy and our patience and our toys and our love and our benefit of the doubt and our sense of humor. We bring things to the world. We bring good things to the world and share them with our fellow humans. Transformation means that change is always happening and we don't need to be scared of it. We don't need to be worried about it. It's going to happen and we can handle it. And pluralism means that there is more than one way of doing things. So, one of you guys, would you feel like reading? Do you feel like reading some words? No? There was some interest until he saw the words. No, not those words, no. Do you want to give it a shot?
Do you remember Jupiter Jet Pig from last week? If you don't... Oh, I can read this. Justice, independence, equity, transformation, pluralism, and generosity. Yeah. Justice, independence, equity, transformation, pluralism, and generosity.
Very nice job. I know this word looks like independence. It's actually interdependence. That's the only difference. All right, so let's see if we can remember those values in a pop quiz. Who is ready? Okay. What does the J stand for? Justice. What does the I stand for? Interdependence. Justin says, what does equity mean? Oh, shoot. What does the E stand for? Equity. Wouldn't that be hilarious if anyone got that one wrong? What does the G stand for? What does the T stand for? Transformation. What does transformation mean?
It means where you picture of a butterfly. It starts with a caterpillar, then it goes to a chrysalis, and then it transforms into a butterfly.
That's okay. My goodness, I did not know we were bringing in experts today. That was wonderful. And the G stands for generosity. Justice insists everyone gets to play. So, thank you for participating. You do not have to worry about that. I'll take care of that later. Thank you for participating in telling our story today. Very nice job of using excellent big words. And I don't know about you guys, but I think it's about time for everyone to get to play. What do you think? Yeah, let's get out of here. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got the fish of the sea in his hands. He's got the birds in the air in his hands. He's got the fish in the sea in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the gambling man in his hands. He's got the sinner man
got the whole world. Oh, yes, he does. He's got the whole world in his
Thank you, Melissa. For the second spiritual practice time of focus in our Sunday service, this opportunity for meditation, contemplation, and prayer, I am reading Patience Visited Me and It from a blog post by Talia Hunter on kindspring.org. Patience visited me, and it reminded me that good things take time to come into fruition and grow slowly with stability. Peace visited me, and it reminded me that I may remain calm through the storms of life, regardless of the chaos surrounding me. Hope visited me, and it reminded me that better times lay ahead, and it would always be there to guide and uplift me. Humility visited me, and it reminded me that I may achieve it not by trying to shrink myself and make myself less, but by focusing on serving the world and uplifting those around me. Kindness visited me, and it reminded me to be more gentle, forgiving, and compassionate toward myself and those surrounding me. Confidence visited me, and it reminded me to not conceal or suppress my gifts and talents in order to make others feel more comfortable, but to embrace what makes me me. Focus visited me, and it reminded me that other people's insecurities and judgments about me are not my problem, and I should redirect my attention from others back to me. Freedom visited me, and it reminded me that no one has control over my mindset, thoughts, and well-being but me. And love visited me, and it reminded me that I need not search for it in others, as it lies within me. Now please join in 1 minute of silence, followed by the reflection hymn, Spirit of Truth, of Life, of Power.
Our reading is A Network of Mutuality by Martin Luther King, Jr. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. There are some things in our social system to which all of us ought to be maladjusted. Hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that. We must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. Before it is too late, we must narrow the gaping chasm between our proclamations of peace and our lowly deeds, which precipitate and perpetuate war. One day we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. We must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means. We shall hew out of a mountain of despair a stone of hope.
As I created the image for this service, I wrote a haiku. Haiku is a Japanese short, fixed syllable form of poetry. Chalice of love and justice, we serve and act, and we are not alone. There are two quotes from Hazrat Inayat Khan, a classical Indian musician and founder of Sufi Universalism over 100 years ago. Sufi Universalism honors all faiths. These quotes seem to be useful in our times. When individuals harmonize their minds and work together in one direction, the divine power manifests through them, and they are able to accomplish that which seems impossible. The moment a person sees their brother's happiness as their own, their sorrow as their own, their difficulty as their own, then the purpose of life is fulfilled. Whether or not you believe in a divine power, I think we can agree that working together as opposed to alone may be the only thing that will help us accomplish that which seems impossible. And seeing our fellow humans' happiness, sorrow, difficulties as also our own seems to be a laudable purpose in life. In our covenant, we say, service is our prayer. That makes prayer not just a petition to a supreme being, but an action verb that involves us. There is an old Christian saying that we are the hands of God. I do believe that we are supposed to serve and act in order to achieve social justice. I think many of us are tired and discouraged. We may have each of us in our own way been working towards love and justice. Some of us are not young anymore. and we have been working for a long time. But despair is not an option. When we despair, we give up. Fear and despair are effective tools to those who oppose us. It isolates and paralyzes us. I think we need to actively guard our mental health. Keeping informed does not mean obsessing over the news and social media. Ration your time spent watching TV and your phones. Take a walk. Try to be outside in nature. Feel the sun. Look at the trees. And seek out and build a community of like minds. We are so fortunate to have this church. Like any institution, it's not perfect. But we have partners to work with and to help us rekindle our personal chalice of love and justice. We are not alone. And thanks to Walter and the tech crew, even when we are ill or the weather keeps us in, we can connect with the community. And when possible, we can meet in person and learn and act together. I think each of us needs to do a personal assessment of what we can do to help the dire situation we face. None of us can do everything, but each of us can do something. At the very least, we can reach out and help rekindle the flame of love and justice for the people we know when they become overwhelmed. A little kindness can go a long way. It may help to inform yourself about issues that matter to you or your loved ones. Technology gives us many resources that can encourage and help us. For example, on the issue of immigration and the current targeting of undocumented or even documented citizens who were born to U.S. citizens and may lose their citizens' birthrights, there are helpful web and local resources. The ACLU has a very good web source of what rights immigrants have if faced by ICE. And some of you may know Eugenio Molo Jr. He was one of the Multi-Faith Council Heroes of Compassion a few years ago. He launched and teaches at the University of Toledo College of Law as a clinical assistant professor of law. He helps allies of undocumented immigrants to organize help, such as giving rides to the immigrants who need them for their immigration interviews in Detroit. The UUA has taken a stand on immigration. The UUA joins a multi-faith coalition to sue the Trump administration to halt immigration arrests in houses of worship. Such arrests are a direct violation of the First Amendment and the Religious Freedom Act. And this is important for us in this community because we're a welcoming community. And it's just short of sanctuary, but many religious organizations believe in the sanctuary aspect of their buildings. Our church does a lot of social justice work, and some of it is organized by the Social Justice Committee. We have several programs that we support. As just one church, we leverage our effectiveness by collaborating with organizations that specialize in specific help on critical issues. I will try to highlight some of the programs that we support. Guest at Your Table is a part of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, and it connects us with United States and world crises. Guest at Your Table has been a major fundraiser for the Unitarians Universalist Service Committee for 50 years. Families can contribute money for an extra guest at their table. The website highlights 4 stories for each campaign. These are the stories for the years 2024 and 25. Suleiman Wellings Longmore, a legal fellow with the Haitian Bridge Alliance, researches the ways racism is impacting the experiences of migrants of color in the United States. Anna Maria Tesfaye co-founded QueerSvit, which offers resources and companionship to the queer community in Ukraine impacted by Russia's invasion. Konya Ishimura is a climate activist from the Marshall Islands who, along with his colleagues at Jojikum, helps his community heal from the destructive legacy of nuclear testing by the United States while envisioning a sustainable future for the Marshallese people. The Pink Haven Coalition creates networks of safety and welcome for trans and gender expansive people forced to flee unsafe states in the United States. Most people in our church donate online. Bill Zepp, who's also in the choir, is our contact person. If you donate online, it would be helpful if you let him know that you have donated. I think the link was there, but if you go to UUA webpage, you will find it. Our collaboration with Leading Families Home connects you with helping families find permanent housing and sheltering victims of domestic abuse in Beach House. During COVID and since, we're not really out of it, this was especially hard for families to find housing, and domestic abuse rose significantly because women had no place to go. Our Leading Families Home contacts are Cindy Gilmore and Sue Childers. Sue and Cindy have organized groups to redecorate Beach House. Members of our church have collected needed household and personal items for Leading Families Home and have attended various fundraisers. In our holiday giving this year, we adopted 8 families by providing, wrapping, and delivering gifts. We also partnered with the Multi-Faith Council to provide gifts to 30 children at Salem Lutheran Church, which is in one of the oldest and poorest of Toledo neighborhoods. The Leading Family Home blanket making group meets the 4th Wednesday, that's this week actually, from 10:30 to 1 p.m. Fleece blankets are cut and the edges are fringed and tied. No special skill is needed. If you have sharp scissors, please bring them. And then the group usually goes to lunch afterwards. Contact Mary Souther, who's usually in the entranceway, for more information. Our partnership with the Multi-Faith Council of Northwest Ohio connects with one of our 6 values, pluralism. First Unitarian Church is a bronze member of MFC, but you can also join individually. We host events here, such as the Faith Leader Breakfast, which gathered faith leaders from at least 6 Christian denominations, 3 mosques, the Hindu temple, 2 Buddhist sanghas, Unitarian Universalists, Sufis, Baha'is, and those with no affiliation. A bountiful free breakfast was prepared by an augmented kitchen crew led by our wonderful kitchen crew leader, Carla Logan Mercer. After a brief program, mixed faith tables shared in discussions of current issues. I felt that most of the people in the room were grieving and seeking strategies to address the hate and division we are facing in our country and in the world. Blessings of Diversity, formerly called Universal Worship, is a monthly program of the Multi-Faith Council. First Unitarian is regularly one of the 10 local faith traditions presenting readings and music or poetry on a theme. The next blessing of diversity is here on March 3rd at 6 p.m. with the theme, The Role of Women, because March is the history of women. The multi-faith men's and women's groups host service projects at St. Paul's Community Center, Salem Lutheran Church, and many other organizations serving marginalized communities. Another subgroup of the Multi-Faith Council is Together Women Rise, and it's hosted monthly in Fellowship Hall and connects with global organizations that support women's initiatives. Our contact is Susan Spiegel. She's here today, but she's with the kiddies, so you could probably see her after the service. Multi-Faith Council is one of the sponsors of the Repair Cafe, which meets in various libraries monthly to offer repair of household items, electronics, and clothing. This free service helps people avoid just trashing items which just need repair or mending. I think they have an 80% success rate, and they've helped thousands of people over the years. By supporting the Multi-Faith Council, our church is connecting with much-needed social justice activities. Green Sanctuary is another program supported by the Social Justice Committee. It is such an active program that we have won awards. I hope to present another sermon dedicated solely to Green Sanctuary, so here I'll just list some of the activities. Our enlarged compassion garden includes water conservation and healthy food grown in community garden plots. If you would like to have a plot this year, please contact Karen Porter, who's here today, because she can sign you up. Dave Murray and the Grounds Committee have done a lot of upgrading to the garden. Excess produce is donated to Seagate Food Bank and the So All May Eat Cafe. We also have a rain garden to help reduce runoff from our parking area. Green Sanctuary also spearheaded installation of our solar panels. We have a memorial garden and a native plant garden. In 2019, we obtained certification as a Sacred Grounds Church through the National Wildlife Fund. So we're known kind of outside of our building. Recycling is encouraged in the building, especially in our kitchen. First UU members regularly volunteer at the So All May Eat Cafe, where anyone can eat, whether they can afford to pay or not. You can pay for your meal, or you can bring produce, or you can volunteer. In the downtown library, it is placed, and it's open Monday through Friday, and we're the second same cafe in the country and the first to be housed in a library. We have so many volunteers that we may have to break into two groups. Related to Green Sanctuary, the Citizens Climate Lobby, CCL, and Climate Reality Project, CRP, are local and global groups seeking to address climate change issues. Tim Reichert is our representative. CCL has a chapter in Toledo and also one in Perrysburg. CRP is more global and promotes both activism and training. You can find out more about these groups online or speaking with Tim Reichert. Unitarian Universalist Justice Ohio is another program of the Social Justice Committee. This contact with Ohio UU social justice work is currently undergoing some reorganization. Soroya King is our contact person. Melanie Christensen has started a renewed activity called Social Action Saturdays, which is to meet the second and fourth Saturdays each month at the church in the Alcott room from 11 to 1 p.m. I think yesterday they made 20 blessing bags, which have materials for people who have to be out in the cold, mittens and so forth. And some of the volunteers made buttons that had subversive messages on to pass out to the community. So there are a lot of opportunities for this. As it gets warmer, we'll come up with other projects. But donations are currently needed for the blessing bags, items such as gallon Ziploc bags, adult socks, mittens, gloves, scarves, hats, lip balm, hand warmers, and sticker labels for packets are helpful. And Melanie Christensen is here today if you want to talk to her about it. Social justice work is also done by various individuals and groups. I will try to highlight some of them. Our little free pantry gets a lot of use and meets neighborhood needs. Remember to donate non-perishable items that are not expired. This is a great way for our church to be a good neighbor. And you can see the newly rebuilt free pantry as you leave the parking lot. Members of our congregation are supporting justice in many ways. Sandra Kosick-Sills was highly involved with UU The Vote, as well as other congregation members. We actively support reproductive rights, pride events, and Black Lives Matter. Many church members write letters to the editor, which we post in our Facebook group, and one a couple weeks ago was by Tom Sheehan. First Unitarian efforts to write UU The Vote letters earned us a great title. We are now a good trouble congregation with the UUA. I love that. The first Thursday Toledo Lecture and Lunch series, located at Monroe Street United Methodist Church, is co-sponsored by Unitarian Action, led by Joe Moran and Gwen Wilson. Speakers from our church this program year are Phil Park-Thomas, Joe Moran, and Dr. Tim Reichert. Unitarian Action and the group by its former name have hosted many social justice programs. Well, it's time to highlight the people that are on our committee. Bill Zepp is the chair and in charge of Guest at Your Table. I'm the vice chair, and my program is Multi-Faith Council. Karen Porter is secretary, treasurer, and Green Sanctuary is her program. And I don't know what we would do without Karen. She's amazing. Sue Childers and Cindy Gilmore are the contact people for Leading Families Home. Tim Reichert is the person for CCL and CRP, and Soraya King for UUJO. Mary Souther is in charge of the Leading Families Home blankets. And then we have some at-large people: Mike Croak, Carol Kyle-Lieber, Julia Colbus, Pam Stevens, and Melanie Christensen. Potential members who are interested in joining are Jenny Blair Van Hoy, Becky Hebrowski, Bill Park-Thomas, and Rebecca Phillips. If you would like to help, either the committee or you have suggestions, please contact Karen Porter, me, or the contact person of a program or project. Thank you for all you do. Together we can make a difference. So be it. Now it's time for shared ministry, and this week we have, again, Wendy DeBoard and Marna Slauson with a special presentation. Please listen, participate, and help our church.
Just listening to that made me in awe, Judy, of all we do. So stewardship, we're trying to get the funds to continue all of the hard work we do. So Marna Slauson and Wendy DeBoard here again as your stewardship campaign co-chairs to keep you up to date on how the annual campaign is shaping up. Our theme was introduced 2 weeks ago by Ginny, with Jupiter Jet Pig emerging from the Wonder Box to share the UU values of J for justice, E for equity, T for transformation,
P for pluralism, I for interdependence, and last but definitely not least, G for generosity.
Reverend Tim's sermon from that Sunday focused on how these values are at the core of the tenet, we are centered in love. We're hoping the Jet Pig theme will lend a light and lively touch as we make a commitment to support First Unitarian Church and the presence of a liberal religious community in Northwest Ohio.
Marna, on a side note, I did a little research on pigs and found out they have suffered from negative PR over the years. They are actually very social and clean animals that like to intermingle.
Just like we do in Fellowship Hall at coffee hour coming up soon.
And pigs are also smarter than some primates.
Probably even smarter than quite a few people in politics these days.
I hope, Marna.
Oops. No, it's me. But enough hamming it up.
Let's focus on the fact that Jupiter Jet Pig flies high above the rest of the porcine pundits because they represent our Unitarian values centered in love.
During the Jet Pig Stewardship Campaign, we want to highlight what each of these values represent. Today, we'll turn our focus to the front of the Jet Pig because J for justice and E for equity are always in our sight. Actually, we like to think UUs have always been at the head of the pack when it comes to both of those. After all, over 150 years ago, Unitarians were at the forefront of the abolitionist movement, working to end the practice of slavery, and were a key presence in the civil rights movement. Unitarians, more than ever, continue to stand for justice and equal rights for all. So Jupiter here, yes, our very own pig in a pulpit, keeps their head on straight and their eyes focused on helping make the world more just and equal for all.
Jupiter will be hanging out in their pen on the table in the foyer, waiting for you to stop by and drop off your pledge. On the first day of the kickoff, 2 weeks ago, we were happy to receive 5 pledges. That's just a drop in the bucket, but it is a good drop. So the goal is to have all forms turned in by March 16th. Remember, you get your pick of the pig sticker when you deposit your pledge in the box. And if we haven't heard from you in a week, we'll be reaching out to answer any questions you might have.
For those watching on YouTube, you can download your pledge form online in the I don't know if it's online yet. We'll have to get it online, but in the UUFYI, it's there, and you can mail it in. You can get your forms here today and mail them in if you're comfortable with that, and mark it Attention Stewardship Campaign. So remember, together we can make pigs fly.
High five, except there we go.
It's a tough act to follow. I don't know. I think I'll sit back down. Well, it's time to talk about today's offering. So let us now give freely and generously an offering to sustain and strengthen our shared religious community, a community of memory, hope, faith, and love. For we are now the keepers of its flame that burns for justice, its dream of beloved community, its vision of a world made whole. First Unitarian Church of Toledo is primarily a self-supporting congregation, so members' pledges are important to us, but it would also help if you can put in a little extra in the basket. We will pass the baskets. Are they passing? Are they going around? Okay, good. We will pass the baskets here in the sanctuary, but if the basket misses you, don't worry. There's a basket on the table outside as you go out. There's also a card. This is a new thing, a card with a QR code that you can use if that's the way you'd like to donate. And for those of you who are watching us on video, please use one of the suggested ways of giving that are on the screen. Thank you for helping Unitarian Universalism to thrive in Toledo.
And we will be singing number 1074 in your teal hymnal. It's Turn the World Around, which is a fun song. So if you want to stand with us and sing, join us.
To the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life.
Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do you know who you are? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do you know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do you know who we are? Whoa, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Water make the river, river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight, turn the world around. Heart is of the river, body is a mountain. Spirit is the sunlight, turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life.
So there. Yeah, you got it. I got lots of them. Got them all in.
It's the coming soon part of our service where we tell you what's on the calendar for this week. We have some announcements, and we also let you know what's up for right after the service. Next Sunday, join us for the Spiritual Forum in Fellowship Hall at 9:45 for another of the quarterly Ask the Minister sessions. You can ask Reverend Tim about Unitarian Universalism, about our congregation, about ongoing work at First Unitarian, about his own life, or other things. For the 11 a.m. service on March 2nd, Reverend Tim will be back in the pulpit for the first of 4 sermons about living and aging. The title for the beginning Sunday is Brevity of Life.
Also coming up this week, there are 2 Tuesday points. It's the RSVP deadline for this month's World Dining on Thursday at 6 p.m. There's been some communication about a different time, but it's 6 p.m. When members will share a meal this month at Carlos Poco Loco in Uptown Toledo. Let Susan Spiegel know by the end of the day Tuesday so she can make the reservation. And on Tuesday here at the church, the monthly board meeting will take place at 7 p.m. and by Zoom. Thank you, Tim. And so it's an open meeting, and members can attend and observe if they like. Wednesday At 10:30 a.m. here at the church is the monthly blanket making in support of Leading Families Home. The materials are supplied, and you get bonus points if you bring your own fabric scissors. After the blankets are made, people usually go out for lunch together. On Saturday, March 1st, there's more crafting, the monthly Knitwits and Fiberwork Orphans gathering, when people work on their own projects in company and also share some food. That's at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. Would you be interested in attending the next board meeting at our church? Board meetings are the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m., and the next one will be the day after tomorrow. Now, because of COVID, sorry, we're repeating this, but just to make it clear, because of COVID, the next board meeting will be on Zoom using our regular number, which can be found on the Chalice contact card in the pew racks. The final coming soon entry is for me to repeat the invitation for you to join us in Fellowship Hall after today's service for coffee, conversation, and social time. And as it's the final Sunday of the month, it's a potluck lunch. If you didn't bring a dish, you're still invited, and we always have plenty of food.
Let's have one more observance of spiritual practice. We have gone beyond ourselves and turned within for meditation. Now, in recognition of the Buddhist thread in our congregation, we will share a time of metta, having for and sending to all beings love, kindness, and compassion. Let us say these words together. May we, and may all beings be well, be happy, be peaceful, be safe, awaken to the light of our true nature, and be free. And now, as Tom extinguishes the chalice, let's say the words for chalice. We send the flame for our Unitarian Universalist chalice with the love on which we center everything to fire up the world, spreading equity, velocity, interdependence, justice, pluralism, and transformation. Go in peace, rekindling the chalice of love and justice in your hearts. Our recessional hymn is number 168, One More Step.